Let's talk strategy models. There's actually lots of different models, and in some of these weekly tips, I'm going to start sharing some of these models with you. First one that I want to talk about is the clock model, because the clock model is one that I use in almost every single one of my strategy sessions. I have a very wide pool of strategy models that I pull from when we're working on strategy for a business, but this one almost always comes into play, and I use this almost every time. So what the clock model is I want you to picture your customer as the center of a giant wheel that moves around them. And this wheel is broken into three primary segments. The first segment, starting at the top of that clock at 12 o'clock and then moving down depending on where it goes, and I'll explain that in a little bit, is how big that segment is. That is your pre-purchase segment. It's your pre-purchase if you're thinking about the message that you're sending out to your customers. It is the pre-hire if you're thinking about messaging that you're putting out towards recruiting. This is a way that you could apply this model to different perspectives of your business as well. So that's all the things that you do to attract and bring those people to you so that they can be curious and then get educated. So this is maybe your social media, any ads that you're running, all of that kind of stuff. Companies that we see that are heavily invested in this and have a large pre-purchase section of their wheel, so maybe it's not that 33% where everything would be equal, but maybe theirs is more in the 45%, is a company like Nike. Nike puts so much effort into educating people about the brand that they have built and really inviting people in to be part of building that brand. So when you see the swoosh, you know exactly what it is. When you see an ad start playing for Nike, you usually know it's a Nike ad before it's even very few seconds into the roll, because it just has a feeling. And we are oversaturated almost on that front side. So the next segment of the wheel would be what we call the purchase segment. Maybe if you were looking at the hiring, this might be that interview process, those contact points early on where you're actually starting to have contact. It's also where you're onboarding a customer potentially. So what is that experience like for them? Some brands focus more heavily on this, and that's going to be the biggest section of their wheel because they've strategically decided that it should be. Brands like Starbucks, it's almost like those locations are a temple to the brand. They actually started an early movement of letting people and inviting people in and to just sit in their environment, in their temple, if you will, and actually spend time there. And people became incredibly loyal to them because they wanted to go into those locations. They wanted to have that experience of ordering their elaborate cup of coffee and then maybe sitting there. Other coffee shops have modeled after this now. So you can see they are heavy on the purchase experience part of this. Now, the last section when we look at the clock model is the post-purchase. And that may be where you're retaining your customers. Maybe you're building communities. Maybe they're getting more in touch with the mission of your company and they're becoming more loyal. This is where we take people and we make them reoccurring customers. Or if you're really going heavy on this, and this is where you're going to put most of your effort into your business, you're actually creating raving fans. And those raving fans and the story of success that come out of post-purchase are often recycled into the pre-purchase and used and leveraged there to create a really great cycle. So different brands have to make different decisions about where are you going to focus. A good, strong, healthy company doesn't focus an even split in that 33% on each section. Instead, they decide, while you're going to have some experiences in all three, where are you going to put most of your effort? Are you going to put it into pre-purchase, purchase experience, or post-purchase? And there's all kinds of implications into making those types of decisions, but it's really important. And most businesses don't sit down and think about this. But when you do, it can be incredibly eye-opening about how you're spending your money, how you're spending your time, your team's time, and where you could set yourself apart from competition and also rise above the crowd. It's one of my favorite strategy models. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you can kind of envision that wheel with your customer at the center and the three primary experiences that they go through with your brand and what might give you the most leverage as you're growing your brand in your business.